In 2013, Call of Duty Ghosts was released. It is known as the worst Call of Duty game ever made. A year later, Advanced Warfare, the second worst Call of Duty game ever made. And after 2 long years of waiting, Black Ops has returned. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another review. This one's a little bit late. This is Black Ops 3, of course, and this game came out a while ago. Now the reason it has been a review is mainly because I've been slightly lazy about it. Also because with Fallout also being out, I had much more of a passion to talk about Fallout because I was more aggravated about it in a way. While this game, I'm very neutral about. Now before I get too if I blabber on too long, I'll get straight into the video, and instantly I'll talk about some of the changes that have been made. Now obviously there's some new gameplay changes. There's the new boosters or the new augments. This is different from Advanced Warfare, because in Advanced Warfare you had an exoskeleton, which was a suit that went over your body and would have like extensions down your arms and metal parts, and you'd like to jump really high and hover in the air. None of that is in Black Ops 3, thank God, because I dislike that personally, although it can be quite fun. In Black Ops 3 what happens is characters will have robotic arms from like the shoulder down, robotic legs from the waist down or the thigh, and some of them even have head augments, with like their eyes are covered in metal parts, and some of them are crazy, but I just prefer this aspect to Advanced Warfare. That's one new change. The graphics are updated, of course, and that's an obvious thing that always happens. They're very good, I think, the graphics this year. They're much better than Advanced Warfare again. And they have that certain Treyarch grittiness about them that when you really look at them, and it feels like it's harsh, it's not a nice place, it's a different environment. Cold environments feel cold, warm ones feel warm. And in general, I love the black and orange look that the Black Ops games have had since Black Ops 2. So the graphics are good, the new boosted gameplay elements are good, there's new game modes which have been added, there's various enhancements to the campaign, the zombies, and the multiplayer, and overall the game, like I said, moves so much further into the future. It gets to the point now where, for me personally, I'll be getting to the end of my life. It gets that far ahead into the future. While Advanced Warfare was maybe 2050 to 2054, Black Ops 3 is 2055 to 2075. So first of all, it covers a hell of a long time, but at the same time, that's a really long way in the future. That's so far in the future that it begins to get to the point where we can literally predict anything, and hopefully the world is still around by then. Hopefully we won't be destroyed by some mystical force or terrorists. But overall, it's so exciting to see how Treyarch has envisioned the future. And there's some of the stuff where you could look at these cities and you're like, wow, imagine that in the future, that'd be so cool. Now the one thing I dislike is there were some pretty rubbish pre-order bonuses, some pretty annoying shit that happens for certain pre-orders. The giant map, which was meant to be available to everyone, turned out to actually be only available for certain pre-orders, or unless you get the season pass. Same for Nuketown 2025. Originally was assumed that it was available for anyone who pre-ordered the game, until it became a thing where it was only available through Game in the UK and GameStop in America, and that is really annoying. I was so looking forward to that map, and it just didn't happen, and I was kind of gutted about that. But hopefully we'll be able to get it at some point. They will obviously release it, depends if I'll actually buy it or not. Now the pre-order bonus that I personally got was this, the hardened edition of Black Ops 3. Yeah, that's it. This was £3 more, and honestly, a question of energy. I've got one exclusive camera from it, and that's it. I haven't got anything else from it. So it's kind of a question if I should have even got that. This is what I got back in Black Ops 2. I got an entire giant box with most of the DLC on release. You can see I could use this as more than just a certain thing. The case isn't in there, but it was a metal case, So hell, I got this giant box and a metal case instead of Black Ops 3, just a metal case. There were coins, which are pointless but kind of nice. So I got so much more, including DLC exclusive themes, soundtrack, which is actually surprisingly good, instead of just having the game and then one exclusive camera, which is pointless. Although that one was only £5 more for Black Ops 2. But either way, it depends what you get. The Juggernaut edition, I personally think, was very cool. And I wanted to get one, and I would have had one if they didn't sell out so quickly. Which is kind of sad. But oh well, what can you do about it? Now to get straight into the review and finally get away from talking about pre-orders and that, I want to get into the campaign first of all. Now, one thing you have to understand, most of the time in Call of Duty they say graphic content, it's nothing too bad, people have seen worse in movies. This year, they mean graphic content. Now the gore does actually add a very interesting feel to the game. It's nothing that will really make the game completely different, but it's interesting to see because it was originally in World at War, and just being the sick children we are, this is what our life was like brought up in Call of Duty that we were way too young for. But we used to enjoy shooting people's heads off or shooting their legs off in World at War. And although I'm not really sure kids today will do the same thing, and that's not really something that is entertaining these days, the aspect is still there, and it is still weird and entertaining to see someone's leg fly halfway across the map and go, hey, look at that, it's quite funny. Even though it is slightly sick. Now the story is more than just a path. It's cleverly written, it intertwines in different ways where you think, it's the typical way you think the good guys are good and the bad guys turn out to be good, and you're not really doing what you think you were doing. And it's genuinely interesting as you go through it. There are some cool features, like there's a DNI, which, like I mentioned, the augments on the arms, the legs, the face. The DNI is how they work as direct neural interface, and there's a huge plot with that. John Taylor, the man you're going after, has a huge arc at one point. I won't explain what happens, but it is so interesting when it does. There's the 54 Immortals, which are a interesting gang that was formed in Singapore when there was a disease that happened. I kind of wish that was one thing they explained more, was this disease that happened. It was kind of like a small little plot point, but it was never expanded on. There's Corvus, which I won't get into what it is, but it's the main antagonist of the whole story, and it is really quite interesting, I personally think. In general, the game explores the mind quite a bit, and what you see, is it really real? As soon as we got these augments, we have no longer control over our bodies. Really interesting stuff like that. And in general, Dr. Salim, who is this doctor who helps people with augments, and it really reminds me of Black Ops 1, where Alex was going through his mind and was unsure of stuff, and it just brings back a new mental element that I remember from Black Ops, because I think of Cold War, crazy experiments, and Black Ops 2, although interesting, didn't really have any of that. Speaking of Black Ops 2, nothing in the game really features anything from Black Ops 2. At the end of Black Ops 2, we had this huge ending where Val Menendez, almost forgot his name, didn't quite forget it, Val Menendez, either gets killed or you capture him, and there's different storylines depending on how he played the game. We don't see anything of it. We don't see any of Cordes Dia. There's only a very, very brief mention of Val Menendez. The Masons never feature, which is, I think, really sad, because Alex Mason, of course, the tough, enduring protagonist from Black Ops 1, and then his son, David Mason, in Black Ops 2. Not as cool, but still an interesting character. I thought, yeah, we're going to see a continuation of the Mason story. Nope, nothing. Kind of annoying, kind of sad. But what can you do about it? Cordes Dia is never mentioned. As I said, Val Menendez gets a tiny mention. Someone mentions his name, that he did something good in the end. or he helped the modern world discover something. But aside from that, nothing of Black Ops 2. But aside from that, the game does have a very World of War feeling. The music is very intense, so when you're doing certain levels, you do feel like you're back in Berlin at the final couple missions of World of War. You know, running through the streets of Berlin, trying to kill the Nazis, and it has a very intense feeling about it. If not obviously set in the World War II environment, that doesn't happen. There is one mission though that is sort of set in the World War II environment that has some incredible imagery in it. Now the campaign, of course, is 4-player now. You can play with your friends. Personally, I never got the chance to play with 4 of my friends. I'm not really sure I have 4 friends, but I managed to play with 1 friend. I know it didn't last long because the game quit and we completely lost the where we were in the game. For some reason, the connection just went, even though we were both talking on Skype and nothing happened to us. It was the game's fault. That was a little bit annoying, but it is quite fun to play with friends. Although it can be repetitive overall, the game, the campaign can be repetitive, and you feel like you're doing the same thing. It doesn't try anything really unique. I will be honest, at one point the game was just so stressful because you had endless waves of enemies coming at you, and I will be honest, I did change it down to the easiest difficulty to avoid stress and never finish the campaign. And occasionally I'd just like to play through like 6 missions and finish the campaign, but I couldn't do that. I prefer like 2 and go, oh, I can't do it. I'm just so aggravated. I have to stop, play something else, or go away, shoot some hoops or something outside, and come back. Because personally, in the past of Call of Duty campaigns, I've usually been able to play them all the way through because they can be usually very entertaining. World of War, for an example, was like that. I could play that all the way through. Ghost was like that, incredibly. Ghost, a good thing about Ghosts, I could play that all the way through. But it is repetitive. It's a better campaign than previous ones. It is arguably better than Advanced Warfare, at least with Black Ops. I feel like the developers knew what they were knew that the story was going to happen. I sort of feel like in Advanced Warfare they were making it up as they were going along, and that was a little bit of a problem with Advanced Warfare. But overall, it is pretty intense at times, entertaining, and can be really, oh my god, I didn't expect that. Or occasionally it can be stressful and you really hate it. But again, as I said, there is some really stunning imagery in the game, and some really clever ideas as well. Now the multiplayer has a very similar feel to Black Ops 2 in terms of weapons, although there obviously aren't very many similar weapons in Black Ops 3 as there were in Black Ops 2, and there are a few that I kind of wish had carried over, or at least influenced occasionally, but that's not really a huge problem. The boosters in the game, again, the augments in the arms, the legs and the face, interesting. They do add some parts, but they don't add a huge amount to the point where the game is annoying, or to the point where you really feel like you have to use it. It's not too complicated, and if you use it effectively, you'll do well, but you won't dominate like in Advanced Warfare. Also, it's not fully necessary like it is in Advanced Warfare. The game can be very, very fun. It can be so enjoyable. You can just sit around with like 10 games in a row, and come back smiling from it. It is very fast paced. It's not very fast paced, but it is faster paced than other ones. Compared to Advanced Warfare, it's slightly slower, but it's still pretty fast paced overall for a Call of Duty game. If you're a Battlefield player and you have never played Call of Duty, it might be difficult to transition over, but I imagine you'll probably do okay. It isn't personally missing some game modes. Me and my friends used to have endless times playing Sticks and Stones, one in the chamber. We'd go up and play Gun Game and change the order. You can't change the order in Gun Game. There is no Sticks and Stones. There's no one in the chamber. There's no Infected either. Although that's a Infinity Ward idea. I'm pretty sure they can actually transition them over now, and that's slightly annoying because that was really fun to do. But for some reason they've completely taken that out. And sure, there isn't any crossbow and there's no ballistic knife. Why didn't they add them in? That's one thing that people loved about the Black Ops series. It had these slightly off weapons where they were stuff that you wouldn't actually see in Warfare, but it's quite fun to have anyway. And the explosive crossbow is not in the game. The ballistic knife, of course, is not in the game. And you could say, oh, that's because they become outdated. They upgraded the explosive crossbow from Black Ops 2 by making it a tri-bolt, where it was much easier to fire. It was actually just a cock mechanism, and there you go, it works. So why didn't they make it a maybe semi-automatic, very slow firing one? That's a big enough upgrade. And for the ballistic knife, you could say, oh yeah, but again, they didn't upgrade that. When they make it fly faster, or when they make it so that you get, I don't know, it can track, or it might be overpowered actually. But just add it in anyway for the fun of it. Hopefully it won't be DLC. If it is DLC, oh my god, they are complete idiots, and no one is going to buy that unless you've got a season pass, of course. But the campaign, the multiplayer overall, is pretty fun, although slightly annoying. There's new customization options. You can now add paint jobs to weapons, which is really cool. I think I have so much fun making different paint jobs for them. There's a new supply drop system, which means, unlike in Advanced Warfare, by the way, you don't get different weapon variants. You just get camos, taunts for different specialists, different outfits for different specialists, and decals for paint job or logo creation. And the specialists which have been added are actually quite interesting as well. Some of them, though, are slightly pointless, while others can be pretty powerful, and really there are like one or two that are worth using, and then the rest are pretty much pointless. And occasionally I think it's slightly unbalanced. But overall the weapons are very balanced. There's not a huge problem there. There's nothing that seriously shines out, but there's nothing that really is awful. Now for the final part, zombies is what I'm talking about. Now this is, again, very fun, although I personally think it's missing some basic maps. For me, and again my friends, who are people who don't play zombies religiously, and none of us are really too good at it, we kind of wish that there were some more basic maps in the game, instead of having these huge advanced ones where to actually do well you have to do this. We just want a map where there's 7 rooms, pack punches here, boxes here. We don't want to have to spend ages doing all this different stuff. We want to play for like 10 minutes, half an hour. We don't play for 3 hours to get something. I personally, like I said, wish there was some basic maps in the game, some stuff that amateurs can play, or even players who aren't too good. But it is what it is, really. People are much better at zombies, and the argument can be that there are much more people who are better at zombies and play it more than there are people who are bad, but play it less often. But either way, though, hopefully they'll add some basic maps. If not, bring back old ones, and find a bit of discussion, or find a bit of argument upon this. The most popular map at the moment in Black Ops 3 Zombies, I bet if you ask the people who own both maps, everyone would say the Giant, which is the more basic, the older, the much more simplistic map, while Shadows of Evil is probably the least popular out of all of them. And that's obviously because it's basic. And you could say, this is the reason the Giant is popular is because it's basic. You could say that's because people are going, oh, it's nostalgia, yay, I love this map. You could also argue because there's so much involved in Shadows of Evil, you just think, oh, do I have to go through all of that? I just want to play some easy rounds, get some good stuff, and enjoy myself. I don't want to spend hours upon hours of trying to do different stuff. And that is one slight complaint I personally have. Although there are some new stuff. There's new gumballs, which are different abilities you can get in the game. They're cheap to get, but then occasionally they're not much good. The Pack Punch is hard to get, especially in Shadows of Evil. It's really hard to get. On the Giant, of course, it's pretty easy. It's not hard to do at all. So now for zombies, if you're not the best player, it's going to be pretty difficult for you to play and have fun, unless you just enjoy sitting around and shooting in those waves of zombies. Then it can be pretty good. The better players of you will enjoy it more, but you probably will want to have a couple of friends with you in order to do really well. Hopefully though, the DLC will add so many more maps and make the zombies mode so much better, because at the moment I think it's a little bit lackluster, although there are some very cool Easter eggs within the game.
I'm so sorry. I really don't have time to explain. I have a universe to set right. Thank you and goodbye.
Now overall, some of the pros of the game: very interesting story mode, exciting campaign, it's a clever story overall, and it's good with friends. You know, really enjoy yourself playing it. The multiplayer is very fun, fast paced, balanced guns, pretty balanced specialists, and overall it doesn't really change up too much, but at the same time it really makes it entertaining again after Advanced Warfare being a little bit annoying. It really feels like Black Ops 2 again, which you can play endlessly, also just never gets old. The Zombies mode is still very fun to play on your own or with friends, even with random people. It's much more extensive now, there's so much more added to the Zombies mode, and overall it's just very entertaining, and like I said, there's much more content involved now. Although some of the cons of the game, it still can be stressful in campaign, as I mentioned before. This was, as I just said, a problem with some of the old ones, but it can be stressful, can be annoying. The multiplayer is missing party games, also is missing some guns I like to see. There's no really obscure weapon that is pointless but at the same time can do slightly well and fun, except for the P06, which is basically useless unless you just enjoy using bad guns like me. The 1 or 2 specialists are pointless, and a few are almost too good. Supply drops are a bit too CSGO with the fact you get certain camos. Hopefully they won't make it micro DLC, in which case I have lost all hope in anything supply drop related in the future, and I will full on refuse to endorse it with any money. I hate micro DLCs if you can't get the vibe. Now the Zombies is lacking basic maps. It's almost too advanced as an argument you can make, and it can be boring and can be very stressful. Now for the final rating of Call of Duty Black Ops 3, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. It's pretty good. It's fun to play, it's really entertaining, especially with friends. You can really enjoy yourself having a good time. Just an example, Advanced Warfare is a 5.5 and Ghost is a 4, arguably 3.5. I really dislike that game with a complete passion. In terms of star rating, I'm on the fence for Black Ops 3 in terms of a silver or a gold. I don't really know. If you're a Call of Duty player, I definitely say a gold star. If you're a silver player, or if you're a Call of Duty player, gold star. If you're not a Call of Duty player and you've maybe played it a couple of times, I'd say a silver star. And overall, I think there's more people who haven't played Call of Duty than people who have, so I'm going to give it a silver star. Although again, if you're a Call of Duty player, it's a gold star. Go and get it now, really. But overall, I really hope the DLC does make this game a little bit better, because it is a little bit underwhelming. Like, I sort of played it expecting it to be, you know, blow away all my expectations, and I was sort of sat there going, it's good, but it's not really incredible. I don't know if I'm just getting much better of not really getting hyped, if that just comes with age in a way, or if just the fact that the game isn't as amazing as I was hoping it would be is the reason I'm not so hyped. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the review though. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. My next review will hopefully Star Wars Battlefront, which is a little bit of an update, will be on PS4 as opposed to PC originally. I had a little bit of a problem with getting the game, but hopefully now it should be sorted out. The game will be on PS4 with the opinion of friends, and overall it will just run so much smoother on PS4 than it will on my PC, which is still making a lot of noise. But hopefully you guys did enjoy the review. Like I said, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And I'll see you next time, guys. I'm out.